This is behavioral intelligence at work, because retention doesn't come from telling clients they'll be fine. It comes from proving you already understand how they decide.
Welcome to Knowing Me, Knowing You, the podcast for the future of wealth management. Thanks for being here. I'm Marla Sofer. Money is a tool. It empowers people. Let's dive into how technology is personalizing advice, strengthening connections, and creating lasting impact. If you're an advisor looking to differentiate, a fintech leader shaping the next wave, or a client ready to take control of your financial future, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hi, and thank you for joining me today, and thanks for bearing with me. I'm going to be doing another podcast today solo, and it's because I want to talk about a very important topic: why most RIA transitions fail quietly and how the best ones compound. Let me start with something kind of uncomfortable, but it's true. Most RIA transitions don't fail on paper. They fail quietly. The deal closes. The successor is competent. The economics look fine. And yet, over the next 12 to 36 months, clients drift, staff disengage, growth stalls. Not because the strategy was wrong, but because the transition misunderstood what actually holds client relationships together. Today, I want to talk about what makes RIA transitions work, not structurally, but behaviorally, and why the firms that win treat transition not as a transaction, but as a behavioral re-architecture. So let me set the stage a little bit. If you're leading RIA transitions, or if you're a PE firm, if you're an RIA looking to grow inorganically by acquiring other advisors in, or if you're looking to success your business to somebody else and move on as a wealth manager, you already know the checklist: legal, compliance, technology, brand, people. These are all necessary, but they're not sufficient, because a transition is not just a change in ownership or leadership. It's a moment of identity disruption for clients, for advisors, and for staff. And the disruption is where behavior shows up. Let me talk about the core problem. Here's the mistake I see repeatedly. Successors and acquirers assume that retention is about reassurance. They tell clients, nothing's changing. You'll still be taken care of. They've been sitting in the background for a long time. The plan already accounts for this. All of these are technically true, but behaviorally, they're ineffective. Because during transitions, clients are not asking, is my plan okay? They're asking, do you understand me? Do you see what I value? Can I trust how decisions will be made without the person that I'm anchored to? Maybe that brought me in, that has known me for years. If those questions aren't answered explicitly, anxiety fills the gap, and anxiety drives attrition. Let's talk a little bit about what the most successful RIA transitions that I've observed do really, really well. They do three things exceptionally, not eventually, but immediately. Number one, they prioritize deep client understanding before reassurance. High-performing transitions don't start with messaging. They start with listening at scale. The successor doesn't just inherit accounts. They inherit decision patterns. They seek to understand what trade-offs clients are most sensitive to, where risk tolerance breaks down in real life, which values are non-negotiable versus aspirational, how clients define success, security, and enough. This is behavioral intelligence at work, because retention doesn't come from telling clients they'll be fine. It comes from proving you already understand how they decide. Let's move on to number two of what makes a transition successful. They allocate resources where behavior is most fragile. Not all clients are equally at risk during transition. The best transition leaders know where to focus. They identify clients whose loyalty was personal, not institutional. They identify households in decision-heavy life stages. They understand which relationships are built on intuition rather than documented understanding. And then they deploy their strongest people, not their most available ones. This is where many transitions leak value. Resources are allocated evenly instead of intentionally, but behavior isn't evenly distributed. Retention improves when attention follows behavioral risk, not AUM alone.
What if financial planning wasn't just about numbers, but about you, your values, your goals, your vision for the future? Nomi is transforming client discovery for wealth managers, going beyond assets and risk scores to uncover what truly matters. With behavioral insights and real-time data, Nomi helps advisors personalize advice, build deeper connections, and grow their businesses. Because the best financial decisions start with knowing you. Discover the future of client engagement at nomi.com.
All right, let's talk about the number 3. Most important thing that successful RIA transitions do. They use language that shapes outcomes, not just explains change. Language matters more during transition than at almost any other moment. Weak language minimizes disruption. Nothing is changing. You'll barely notice. Strong language reframes it. This is how continuity will be protected. This is how decisions are going to be made going forward. This is what will not change and what will improve. Successful successors don't avoid the disruption. They narrate it. They give clients a story that preserves agency and confidence. When clients understand how decisions will be made, trust transfers faster than when they're told who is now in charge. Here's a real-world pattern that I've seen. Transitions sometimes happen where the successor had better technology, more staff, stronger processes, and they still lost momentum. Why does this happen? Because the clients didn't feel understood early enough. Now contrast that with transitions where discovery was unified and visible. Behavioral data traveled with the relationship. Advisors spoke the same language about priorities, not just portfolios. Those firms didn't just retain clients, they grew during the transition. Because disruption, when it's handled well, actually strengthens trust. Let's take a step back and think about, what does this mean for you as a transition leader? If you oversee RIA transitions, your role is no longer just execution. It is behavioral stewardship. Your success will be defined by how well the understanding transfers, not just the assets. How intentionally attention is deployed, how clearly the narrative supports confidence and agency. The firms that win in the next decade won't be the ones with the smoothest handoffs. They'll be the ones that make clients feel more understood after the transition than before it. So I want to close with this. Transitions are not moments to prove stability. They are moments to demonstrate judgment. When successors show that they understand clients deeply, they allocate resources wisely, and they communicate with intention, transitions stop being a risk event. They become a trust accelerator. It's not accidental. That's behavioral intelligence applied where it matters most. I thank you for listening to me today. If you appreciated this, send this to your friends who are working in the M&A space and successing their RIA business in their wealth management business, and let me know what you thought. Share with me your questions and your comments, and I would be delighted to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on the Knowing Me, Knowing You podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Your support helps us bring more transformative conversations to you. Until next time, keep discovering, keep growing, and remember, you're in control of your own financial story. Follow us for more conversations on financial confidence, self-discovery, and the future of money.